The desert wind howled across the dry valley, carrying sand and silence with it. Draven Kane walked slowly, his boots crunching over the cracked earth. He had been alone for days. Ever since his rover broke down on this dead moon. No signals, no maps, just miles of dust and the sound of his own breath. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't even a soldier. He was just a cargo technician from Earth, stuck during a mining run. But that day, something changed. Something was waiting under the dust. He noticed it first as a small shape near a broken rock. At first, he thought it was metal, maybe part of a drone. But when he got closer, he stopped walking. It wasn't metal. It was skin, pale, glowing slightly. And trembling, his heart skipped. A child half buried in the dirt, arms covering her head. She looked human, but not quite. Her ears were too long, her fingers too thin, and her hair shimmered like silver dust. Draven knelt down slowly. "Hey," he said, his voice soft and cracked. "Are you okay?" The girl didn't answer. She was breathing, but barely. Her lips moved as if trying to speak. Then she whispered something. So quiet, he almost didn't hear it. But when he did, his blood went cold. "They burned the stars," she said. Then her body went limp in his arms. Draven held her eyes wide, unsure if she was dying or asleep. He looked around. There was no one else. No tracks, no signs of life. Just him, the girl, and the silence. He had to act fast. He grabbed the survival pack from his shoulder and wrapped her in a heat blanket. Then he ran back toward the broken wreck of his rover, praying the solar battery still held a charge. Inside the rover, it was dark and dusty. He laid the girl on the seat and connected her to his portable medkit. The machine beeped, scanning, analyzing. Life form detected. Unknown species, humanoid. Young, critical condition. "Yeah, no kidding," Draven muttered. He wiped her forehead with a wet cloth, her skin cold but smooth like glass. "What happened to you?" he whispered. "Where did you come from?" But deep inside, he was afraid he already knew. For the past 6 months, there had been whispers. Rumors in the deep space channels, whole colonies going silent, ships disappearing between jump gates. Shadow moving through space. Nobody believed it. Not until now. Not until he heard her words. They burned the stars. Who were they? And why was this girl the only one left? A few hours passed. The girl slept, her chest rising and falling slowly. Draven didn't sleep. He kept watch, staring out the cracked window, listening for anything. Then, just before sunrise, she woke up. Her eyes opened, deep violet with flecks of gold. She looked around, confused, afraid. Draven raised his hands gently. "Hey, it's okay," he said. "You're safe." She stared at him for a moment, then whispered, "Where am I?" "You're on Gamma 7, he said. "Mining moon. You were out there." In the dirt, the girl looked down like she was remembering something too big for her mind. Then tears rolled down her cheeks. "They're coming," she said. Draven leaned closer. "Who?" She looked him in the eyes, and for the first time, he saw the fear, real, deep, ancient fear. "The ones that erased my world," she whispered. "The ones that burn planets for fun." Draven sat back, stunned. Why would they do that? He asked, "What do they want?" The girl shook her head. "They don't want anything," she said. "They enjoy the silence. They come to quiet the stars." Draven felt a chill run down his spine. Then he remembered something. A beacon. Tower 10 miles north. Old, damaged, but maybe still able to send a signal. If he could reach it, maybe he could warn someone. Maybe he could send a message to Earth. He stood up, checking his gear. "We're getting out of here," he said. The girl looked at him. "You'll die if you go alone." Draven smiled slightly. "Not if you come with me." She blinked, then nodded. He didn't know what he was doing, but he knew this much: if she was telling the truth, This wasn't just about one lost alien girl. This was the beginning of something much bigger and much darker. Outside, the first sun rose over the horizon. But in the far distance, a black shadow moved in the sky, slow, wide, and full of silence. Draven walked across the dry land, holding the alien girl in his arms. The morning light was sharp, making the sand look white and endless. The girl had fallen asleep again, her body still weak. Every few minutes, she whispered something strange. In her sleep, words that made no sense, or maybe words from another language. But the fear in her voice was easy to understand. Draven kept moving. He had one goal in mind, the old beacon tower. If he could get there, maybe he could send a signal. Maybe someone would hear them. Maybe Earth would believe him before it was too late, after 3 hours of walking. He reached the base of the cliff. The tower stood at the top, broken, leaning, but still standing. It had been offline for years, abandoned after the mining company. Left the moon, but Draven had worked with machines his whole life. He believed he could bring it back. He laid the girl under a shade rock, gave her water, then started to climb the steps. Each step was covered in dust and heat. His hands shook from exhaustion, but he didn't stop. When he reached the control panel, he opened the old metal case and coughed at the smell of rust and heat. Wires, switches, dust. He took a deep breath and began to work. Back below, the girl opened her eyes. She sat up slowly, looking at the sky. Her silver hair moved in the wind, and her violet eyes narrowed. Far in the distance, the black shadow in the sky had grown larger. She stood, even though her legs were shaking. She reached into her cloak and pulled out a small crystal disc. It lit up with blue light, showing a star map. The closest stars had been marked with red X's. She touched one, her home world. Gone now, burned into silence. Tears filled her eyes again. Then she looked up the hill at Draven, still trying to fix the tower. "I hope you're fast," she whispered, at the top of the cliff. Draven finally heard a soft buzz from the panel. The small screen flickered, showing weak power. "Yes," he said with a tired smile, still alive. He connected his wrist to the panel, opened the emergency link, and tried to send a signal. "This is Technician Draven Kane from mining site Gamma 7. I have found a young alien survivor. She says her planet was destroyed and something is coming, requesting immediate pickup." Coordinates attached. He waited. The screen blinked, then went black again. No response, he muttered. He banged the side of the panel, but nothing happened. Suddenly, he heard the girl scream from below. He turned and saw her pointing at the sky. He looked up and his heart sank. A ship, massive, dark, and quiet. It moved through the air like smoke. Without sound or fire, there were no lights, no markings. Just black metal and silence. It was heading straight for them. Draven rushed down the steps and grabbed the girl's hand. "We have to hide," he said. But the girl didn't move. Her eyes were locked on the ship. "They found me," she said. "They always find survivors." Draven pulled her behind the rocks as the ship stopped above them. A beam of pale blue light came down from the bottom of the ship and scanned the area. The rocks shook from its energy. Then something dropped from the ship, a small black sphere. It hovered for a second, then cracked open. 3 machines crawled out, tall, spider-like, and sharp. They didn't speak. They just began searching. One of them turned toward the spot where Draven and the girl were hiding. The girl looked at Draven. With tears in her eyes, "If they touch me, I'll burn too," she whispered, just like the others. Draven looked around, searching for anything he could use. His pack had a flare gun, only one shot. He pulled it out, aimed high, and fired into the sky. A bright red light exploded above the cliff. The machines turned toward the light. Then he grabbed the girl and ran. They sprinted into a narrow canyon between 2 tall rock walls. The machines followed, moving fast and silent. Draven turned and pushed over an old fuel barrel he had seen before, part of a forgotten mining post. He shot it with his pistol. It exploded in fire and smoke, blocking the path behind them. The girl looked up at him, surprised. "You fight like one of us," she said. "I'm just a repair guy," he replied, breathing hard, "but I'm not." Letting them take you, they kept moving until they reached a hidden cave. Inside it was cool and dark. Draven dropped to the floor, holding his knees, trying to catch his breath. The girl sat beside him and placed the crystal disc on the ground. A soft blue light filled the cave. It showed a star map again, one by one. The stars began to disappear. Draven stared at it, confused and scared. "What is this?" he asked. She looked at him and said something soft, "I think." "I'm the last one." Draven looked at the map, then at her, his mind full of questions, but one thing was clear now. This wasn't just about one girl or one planet. It was a warning, and Earth might be next. The cave was silent. Only the soft blue light of the star map glowed between them. Draven stared at it, unable to speak. The girl sat across from him, her small hands resting on her knees. She didn't cry. She just looked tired. Too tired for someone so young, too broken for someone who had survived something so big. He pointed at the red X marks on the floating stars. "How many planets have they taken?" he asked. The girl touched the map gently. With each touch, a star blinked and faded away. "1," she whispered. 2, 10, 30. Draven's throat felt dry, and no one stopped them. He asked. There was no time. She said, "They come fast, silent, with no warning." She looked at him with her violet eyes, full of sorrow, just like now. Draven leaned against the stone wall, running a hand through his dusty hair. "So why are they after you?" he asked. "Why chase a child?" She looked away. "I carry something," she said. "Something they want to destroy." Draven sat up straighter. "What is it?" She held up the crystal disc and placed it over her heart. "A memory," she said. "A piece of truth." Draven frowned. "Truth? About what?" She hesitated, then whispered, "About what they really are." Outside the cave, the wind began to rise. Dust blew across the rocks like ghosts in the air. Draven stood and checked the entrance. The machines had not returned. Not yet. He turned back. To the girl, "You said they burn stars." He said, "But stars are too big, too far." She shook her head. "Not the stars themselves, but the worlds near them. They erase the light." She touched the crystal again. The map changed. Now it showed a signal, a path that led from the last destroyed planet to this moon. It ended at a blinking dot. "Their current location, they followed me here," she said, "but they don't know what I carry." Draven stared at the blinking dot. "So they think you're just another survivor?" She nodded. "But if they find the truth, I'll destroy this moon too." Draven stepped closer to the map. "Can this thing send a message?" he asked. She tilted her head. "To who?" "To Earth," he said. "To warn them?" She looked unsure. "Your world may not believe you," she said. "Ours didn't." Draven smiled bitterly. "They don't believe much until it's all ready." Too late. He reached into his pack and pulled out his damaged wrist. "Come." It had one working port left. "Can we link it to the crystal?" he asked. The girl nodded slowly. Draven connected the crystal disc to the COM. The screen on the wrist device lit up and began to process the map data. Lines of alien code and human code merged together. It created a short, powerful message. Warning. Galaxy-wide extinction event in progress. Systemic erasure by non-communicative force. Data attached. Planetary loss records. Route path, survivor testimony. Draven pressed send. The device blinked, then paused, then blinked again. Signal sent, it said. Draven let out a deep breath. "Now we hope someone listens," he said. The girl stood beside him now. She looked out at the stars in the distance. "I never wanted to be the last one," she said quietly. "You're not," Draven said. She looked up at him, confused. "You're not alone anymore," he said. "And we're not done yet." Suddenly, the cave shook. A deep vibration rolled. Through the ground, Draven grabbed the girl and pulled her back as dust fell from the ceiling. The machines had found them again. "We have to move," he said. "But where?" She asked. Draven looked at the map. A second signal had appeared. Faint, blinking slowly, far to the north. "What's that?" he asked. The girl's eyes widened. "A beacon from my people," she said. "I thought they were all gone." Draven's heart beat faster. "Then we go north," he said. "Maybe you're not the last after all." She nodded, hope rising in her eyes for the first time. Draven packed the gear fast, grabbed the disc, and helped her out of the cave. The air was colder now. The black ship still floated far above the desert, watching, waiting, but they didn't stop to look back. They walked toward the unknown, toward the signal, toward the last hope left in the galaxy. And as they walked, the girl whispered softly, "If there's even one more, maybe we can light the stars again." The cold wind cut through the rocky valley as Draven and the girl moved north. The desert had ended. Now the land was covered in frost and silence. Thin ice cracked under their boots. Above them, the sky had turned gray, hiding the stars. The girl held the crystal disc tightly, her eyes fixed on the glowing map. The signal was getting stronger. "We're close," she whispered. Draven nodded. Though his legs were tired and his hands numb from the cold, he didn't care about the pain. They had come too far to stop now. The ground rose ahead of them. At the top of the icy hill stood an old tower, frozen in time. It was covered in snow and ice, and parts of it had collapsed. But a soft green light blinked inside the tower's core. The signal, they had found it. Draven stepped carefully, his breath forming clouds in the cold air. The girl followed, her silver hair glowing even under the dull sky as they reached the base. She placed her hand on the frozen door. It didn't move. Draven took a metal rod from his bag and hit the lock 3 times. The ice cracked and the door slowly opened. A wave of cold air rushed out. Inside was darkness, and something else. Something alive. They stepped inside the tower. The walls were covered in frozen wires and broken machines. Lights flickered faintly. Then they heard it, a soft hum, followed by a voice, faint, broken, but still speaking. "Is someone there?" The girl stepped forward quickly. "That voice," she whispered, "it's Eldari." She reached for the crystal disc and held it toward the sound. The map shifted. A new line formed, leading deeper into the tower. Draven turned on his flashlight and moved ahead. The hallway was narrow, filled with ice and silence. Then they found it. A glowing pod, half buried in the floor. Inside was a figure older than the girl, but still young. His skin was pale blue, and his chest moved slowly. He was alive. The girl gasped, placing her hands on the glass. "He's one of us," she said. Draven wiped the ice from the control panel beside the pod. The system was damaged but working. He pressed the release button. Steam hissed as the pod opened slowly. The boy inside blinked and coughed. Then he looked at them with wide eyes. "You're not part of the machine," he said. Weakly, the girl nodded. "No, we're survivors." The boy sat up, shivering. "How long? Was I asleep?" Draven checked the panel. "Almost 12 years." The boy stared at him, confused. 12 years. He whispered, "That means they're already here." The girl helped the boy stand. He was weak, but still alive. "We followed your signal," she said. "We thought you were gone." The boy looked at the map on her disc. His face turned pale. "You brought it here," he said. "The memory. They'll track it. Draven stepped closer. They already have. We fought machines. And a black ship is still watching. The boy touched the wall and closed his eyes. The room lit up slowly as old power flowed through the tower. A large hologram appeared. It showed a galaxy map. Red zones covered half of it. Draven stared in shock. So many worlds, he said. Gone. The boy turned to him. We were part of a research mission, he explained. We learned what they were, what they're made of. But when we tried to share it, they silenced us. They sent hunters to erase the knowledge, the girl whispered. And you survived. He nodded. Barely. I sent the signal and hid here. I thought no one would ever come. Draven looked at them both. You're not alone anymore, he said. But we need to move again. They're already close. The tower shook as if to answer him. From outside came a strange sound. Not metal, not wind, but a low hum that made the walls vibrate. The boy rushed to the control panel. I can use the last bit of power to jam their signal, he said. It'll give us time. Draven helped him. Connecting his wrist come to the tower's system. Energy sparked. Lights blinked red, then green. Done, the boy said. Gasping for breath, but it won't last long, the girl grabbed the map and looked at a new dot that had appeared, a hidden gateway, she said. Under the western mountains, it's our last chance. Draven nodded. Then let's go. He gave the boy his jacket and picked up the girl's pack. They stepped out into the cold again, the sky now darker than before. But they had hope. Not just one survivor now, two, and maybe more beyond. The gate, as they walked, the wind whispered through the ice, carrying their footsteps toward the unknown. The wind blew harder now. Snow covered the ground as Draven, the alien girl, and the newly awakened boy moved west. The world around them was turning darker with every hour. Above the clouds, the black ship still hovered silent. Watching, waiting, Draven kept his hand on his weapon, though he knew it wouldn't stop what was coming. They had one chance now, one hope. The hidden gate under the western mountain. The girl walked beside him, holding the crystal disc close to her chest. It glowed with a soft blue light, leading them forward. The boy, still weak from his long sleep, leaned on Draven when he needed to. I don't remember much, the boy said quietly, but I know that gate was our escape plan. A secret tunnel made before the fall. Draven nodded. Then let's pray it still works. They moved through icy plains, crossed frozen rivers, and climbed sharp hills. By the time the mountain came into view, their hands were numb and their legs heavy, but none of them stopped. The mountain rose like a wall of stone and snow, sharp and cold. The girl pointed at a narrow path hidden behind frozen trees. There, she said, the signal is strongest. There, they followed the path, after climbing over broken rocks and frozen branches. They reached a wide wall of stone. To Draven, it looked solid, just another cliff. But the girl walked to the center and placed her hand against the wall. The crystal disc glowed brighter. A low sound came from deep inside the mountain. The wall shifted. Lines of blue light formed in the rock, circling out like waves. Then, with a heavy sound, a door opened. A warm breeze touched their faces as they stepped inside. The tunnel beyond was quiet and smooth, made of black stone with glowing walls. It felt alive. Draven looked around with wide eyes. This isn't mining tech, he said. The boy nodded. It's Eldari core tech. Made by my people before the war, the tunnel led deep under the mountain. They walked for almost half an hour before the path opened into a massive chamber. At the center stood the gate, tall, circular, and covered in strange symbols. It wasn't open yet, but it pulsed with slow energy, like it was waiting for something. The girl stepped forward and placed the disc into a round slot near the gate. Lights raced through the symbols. The gate began to spin slowly. What is it? Draven asked. The boy answered. It's a portal. To where? The boy looked up to wherever survivors went. Draven stared at the swirling gate. Could it be true? Could more have escaped? Could this gate lead them to safety? But the moment of hope was cut short by a loud sound from behind them. A deep, heavy thud. The mountain shook slightly. "They found us," the girl said. The gate continued to charge with energy, but it wasn't ready yet. "We need more time," the boy shouted. Draven turned and ran toward the entrance tunnel. He saw them in the shadows, black machines crawling fast, eyes glowing red. No more time. He fired a shot. Then another. It slowed them down, but not for long. "Block the path," Draven yelled. The boy ran to a side panel on the wall. He pressed a few buttons, and the tunnel door slammed shut just as the machines reached it. They pounded on the other side like wild animals. The metal held for now, back at the gate. The girl was glowing with the same light as the crystal. She floated a few inches above the ground. Her eyes were open wide, but she wasn't fully awake. "She's sinking with the gate," the boy said. "It's choosing her." Draven stepped back, watching as the gate grew brighter and faster. A deep hum filled the chamber. Then the gate opened. A spiral of stars and colors appeared inside the ring. It looked like a river made of light. Suddenly, the tunnel door cracked. Metal bent under the weight of the machines. Draven grabbed the boy's shoulder. "Take her through." "What about you?" the boy asked. "I'll hold them off. You won't survive." Draven looked at the glowing girl. "She's the future," he said. "Go." The boy nodded and picked up the girl gently. He stepped into the light of the gate and vanished. Draven turned back to the tunnel. The door broke open. Machines rushed in, sharp and deadly. Draven stood his ground, firing everything he had. One by one they fell, but more came, just before he was overwhelmed. He looked back at the shining gate and smiled. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a man who found a lost girl in the dirt and gave her a chance to live. The light faded slowly. The boy opened his eyes and looked around. He was standing in a wide field under a purple sky. Strange trees with silver leaves swayed gently in the soft wind. Birds with glowing wings flew overhead, singing a song he didn't recognize. In his arms, the girl was breathing calmly, still glowing, still warm. The gate behind them closed with a soft hum. For the first time in a long time, there was no sound of machines. No black ships in the sky. No metal claws chasing them. Through dust or snow, only peace. He gently laid the girl on a bed of soft grass. She opened her eyes slowly. "Where are we?" she asked, her voice weak but steady. The boy looked around again. "I don't know," he said, "but I think we made it." He checked his crystal map. A new signal was blinking on it, far away, but active. He pointed to it. "There's someone else here." The girl sat up, blinking against the light. "Another survivor." "Maybe," he said, "or a whole group." They walked together across the strange land. The grass was soft under their feet. The air was warm and smelled like rain, even though no clouds were in sight. It felt like the planet was alive, but calm. Like it had been waiting for them. The boy didn't say much. His heart was still thinking about Draven, about the man who stayed behind. The man who gave everything for them to reach this place. The girl looked at him and said softly, "Do you think he made it?" The boy stopped walking. "I don't know," he said, "but he saved us. And now we have to make that mean something." They climbed a small hill and reached a wide valley. In the center was a glowing tower made of crystal and stone. It looked old but untouched by time. The signal on the map pointed directly to it. They walked toward it carefully as they got closer. A door opened slowly on its own. Inside, warm light filled the room. And a voice spoke, soft, gentle, and full of memory. "Welcome, children of the lost. You are not alone." A figure stepped out of the light, tall, with long silver robes and eyes like starlight. The girl gasped. "You're Eldari." The figure nodded. "One of the last elders. I stayed behind when the others left. I was waiting for survivors." The boy stepped forward. "There are no more on our side, only us." The elder looked at them both, then at the map in the girl's hands. "You carry the memory," he said, "the truth of what destroyed us." She nodded. "And now they're moving toward Earth." The elder's face became serious. "Then we must act quickly," he said. The elder led them deeper into the tower. He showed them a round room with glowing walls and floating data. Crystals. Each one held stories from lost worlds, names, voices, faces. The girl reached out to touch one and saw a vision of her people before the fall. Children laughing, cities flying in the sky, music playing in every corner. She stepped back with tears. In her eyes, the elder spoke again. "You are the last of your kind, but not the end." With your memory and his strength, he looked at the boy. "You can lead." The boy looked unsure. "I'm not a leader," he said. "I was just a student. You are more now." The elder replied, "You survived, and you chose to protect her. That is strength." The girl looked at the boy and smiled. "I believe in you," she said. He did too. The boy took a deep breath and stood taller. "What do we do next?" he asked. The elder opened another room, this one full of technology. Glowing armor and weapons unlike anything the boy had seen. "We prepare," the elder said. They spent hours in the tower, learning about the enemy. Training with new tools, connecting their crystal map to the elder's systems. They discovered Earth was now in danger. The black ships were moving fast, the same way they came for the Eldari. The elder gave them one last gift, a small ship hidden deep under the tower. "It's the last of its kind," he said, "fast, quiet, and strong. You'll need it." As they stood at the ship's ramp, the girl turned and looked at the sky. "I miss him," she said. The boy nodded. "Me too, but we'll carry his name. We'll protect Earth the way he protected us." The elder raised his hand. "Go now," he said, "and light the stars again." The ship rose into the air, fast and smooth. The gate reopened, not to escape this time, but to return, to finish what was started, to protect the next world before it was too late, and maybe, just maybe, to keep one promise made in the dust. The stars stretched across the black sky as the small Eldari ship moved through space. Inside, the alien girl and the boy sat together, silent but focused. The map on the screen showed Earth getting closer. It was still safe for now, but not for long, behind them. The black ships were coming, the same ships that burned the girl's world. The same silence that destroyed the Eldari. The same darkness that Draven had faced with nothing but hope and a broken weapon. The boy looked at the crystal disk, now connected to the ship's system. It pulsed with new energy. Their data had grown stronger. They had full maps, full records, full truth now. The girl turned to him, her eyes calm. "Do you think they'll listen?" she asked. "Earth." The boy took a deep breath. "We'll make them listen," he said. "We owe that to him." When they reached orbit, Earth commands scanned the ship. Alarms went off. Weapons locked on. A voice crackled through the comm system. "Unidentified vessel. State your name and purpose." The boy leaned forward. "This is Aaron of the Eldari Remnant." He said, "We bring warning. There is no time to waste." At first, silence, then static. Then the voice replied, "Land at Outpost 9. And be ready to explain everything." The ship landed on a steel platform surrounded by soldiers, bright lights flashed in every direction. The girl stepped out first, holding the disc above her head. Aaron followed, his hands open to show peace. The Earth officers lowered their weapons as they saw the data streaming from the disc. The truth filled the screens around them. Destroyed planets, lost signals. The black silence moving from system to system, wiping out life without a word, without mercy, without reason. Inside the Earth Command Center, leaders watched in silence. One by one, they understood what was coming. The girl stepped forward and spoke clearly. "You think you're safe," she said. "We thought that too, but they are coming." "And if you wait, it will be too late," a general asked. "Why?" "Should we trust you?" She answered, "Because a human saved me when no one else did. And he didn't even know what I was." The room went quiet. Aaron stepped beside her. "His name was Draven Kane," he said. "He found her in the dirt, alone, dying. And he gave everything so we could stand here today. He was one of you, but he died like one of us." With courage, with heart, the data transfer continued. Earth's defense systems linked to the Eldari tech, a new plan. Began to form new hope, but time was short. The black ships were already entering the outer edge of the solar system. A countdown had started, in orbit. Earth's fleets prepared for war, for the first time in history. Human and alien technology worked side by side. New shields, new energy weapons. New codes written with both languages. The girl sat in the war room and watched it all unfold. She placed her hand on the glass window, looking at the stars. He would have liked this, she said. Aaron nodded. He didn't live to see it, but his name made it possible. A new fleet ship was launched the next day. It was the largest Earth had ever built. Its name was simple, the Deacon R. Draven Kane's name, carved into the hull in silver letters. The girl smiled softly when she saw it. He was never a soldier, she said, but he became a legend when the black ships arrived. Earth was ready. The first battle shook the skies. Light and fire spread across the stars. But this time, the silence did not win. Human strength, alien memory, one girl's voice, and the name of one man who believed in life. They all fought as one and pushed the darkness back. Years later, the galaxy would tell stories of that day, of the boy who carried truth, of the girl who survived when no one else did, and of the man who found her in the dust with broken tools and a good heart, and gave the stars a second chance. They will remember his name, Draven Kane, the man who picked up a dying child and lit the flame of hope again.